suspended animation of a gray expansion casting shadows over the sun. Somewhere in the river of time, we have died. It has happened already. Somewhere in the river of time, the sleeping world explodes. Death is
What's up? This is Lordship in the building. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. Yes, we are back. And I just got back from the California wine country, and I took tons of pictures and stuff because I'm really getting into my photography. But they're not ready. I got to get it off the camera and, check them out. But most of the pictures are 1-to-1 ratio. Shout out to Key Dad, man. Shout out to Diva Divine Light and Observing Stuff and everybody that came through before I messed up. Shout out to everyone that was showing support. It is past my bedtime. My bath water is getting cold. But I just wanted to talk about this one wine that I went to a tasting at their place. I didn't go to their ranch or whatever. I went to their little store in the downtown area. So this is the Krupp Brothers. One of them. These guys started. Basically, one guy started in his walkway. Yes, he was growing grapes and stuff in the walkway in front of his house, and now how did I lose my page? Let me get back to my page. There we go. So anyway, this is their growing ranch. And what happened was, of course, that wasn't working out. Growing grapes in your front yard, trying to make homemade wine, wasn't working out for them. So they got some property up in the hills. And I'm going to see if I can get pictures of that property right quick. Let's go to the estate for a minute. So, this is the estate. What's up, RE in the building? We just chilling. Lakers won. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is the estate. I was at their little boutique yesterday, and wine tasting was $45. But you can always, if you're there with your spouse or whatever, your significant other, you can always share the tasting. You don't always have to have your own separate. So you can. It was $45, so it was 4 bottles to taste from, so you could share that if you're a couple. You know what I'm saying? If you're with your homie, then of course get your own separate $45 tasting. You know, yeah. But the thing about these dudes is, they were living. One dude was living in San Francisco, and he was just growing grapes in his walkway, and he needed a bigger place and all of that. So they went to get some property, and it was pretty cheap compared to other properties because um, it didn't have its own road, it didn't have its own irrigation, it didn't have nothing. It didn't have its own road, it didn't have its own water system. And one thing you need when it comes to winemaking is water. You need to find your own well, okay? So if you can find your own well, you're good because you can hire a company to find the well and dig the well up, and then you're great. There's no water department. Yeah, it looks a little fancy. I wish we could have visited this particular place, but I didn't get a chance to visit that. I visited their little boutique store that was in town, but this is nestled at the foot of the Vaca Mountains, and it's just off the Insonic Silverado Trail. And Krupp Brothers Winery offers one of the most memorable tasting experiences in Napa Valley. Enjoy a private experience set on our bucolic Tuscan-inspired estate with a tour and custom tasting. Now, if you go to the big property, it's going to be like $125, and your tasting will include a flight of 5 wines paired with cheese and I guess I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce that. Charcuterie. Charcut. It's probably a French word. Charcuterie. We are open daily. Okay, so we went up. We went to their other little spot. Now we did drive by the little small mom and pop growers. You know what I'm saying? Like we drove past, and they all got these nice houses that they must have shipped up from Texas or something. I don't know, but yeah. So the place that we went to was this one on the left, the downtown tasting room. Okay, and just steps from the Oxbow Market. Join us for a flight. They call it, wine tasting. For some reason, they call it a flight. Um, but wine by the glass or bottle. Drop-ins are welcome, but appointments are recommended due to limited seating. All right. So I haven't even been to their website. This is new. It's cool though, isn't this classy? This place. I took pictures inside, so you get to see my pictures. Now this is their pictures, and I think my pictures are better than their pictures. I might have to send them my pictures once I, put them together. But this place is so nice. I almost brought my analog camera. So this is their tasting room, and it's like I said, it's located downtown Napa, and it says you get an introduction to our wines with a flight of 1 white and 3 reds, and it's paired with chocolate truffles. We didn't get our chocolate truffles. Now you got reserve tasting, and then you got the library tasting. So we got the signature tasting, and we shared it. Black Dust in the building. What's happening? What's happening? So the Krupp brothers, when they got the land, they got it on the cheap because it didn't have any roads, it didn't have no well or nothing, and it was on the hill. So they hired at least one, maybe two companies to look for water. I'm in the wrong business. These companies will charge $100,000 to dig a hole to find you water, and when I do stories, I like to study the subject and then speak from the heart. I don't, I, even though I read from the website, right now I'm speaking from the mind, and they couldn't find any water after spending all that money. So they hired a local Indian guy, which they call these people water witches. They hired a water witch, and the water witch only charged 200, and the water witch was able to not only find the water right away, but tell you how deep, how much of water it was, and how deep it was. So these two OGs right here um, came up with it. All right, and of course they're going to use some big, colorful words to describe what. And it's too late at night, and I got this mic blocking my view. But with a private, let me see. Well, oh yeah, one of them is a doctor. It says our winery is the dream of two brothers who nurtured a passion for wine over a decade, and after setting down roots in the San Francisco Bay. Um, where is that? And then, an internist with a private medical practice pursued his winemaking as a hobby for 15 years. And he still practiced medicine even though he's like over 70. He still passes his license test. And he has a lot of grandkids. And of course, he's the family doctor. Now, that's not written down here, but I did my own research and asked my own questions. So, and then they volunteered a lot of information as well. So, while continuing to commute to his medical practice, Jan moved to Napa in 1991 and began to tend grapes. And first planting a vineyard surrounding his family house, and then, with the help of Bart, he would develop what would become one of Napa's most iconic vineyards. Basically, what they're saying is he became the supplier of most of the wineries for grapes because of where they're growing the grapes at on land that nobody wants. They actually grow the best grapes, so they probably supply 80% of the grapes for the other wineries. So they really don't have to sell wine, but since this is his passion, the brothers' passion, they actually make a small selection of wines, which costs pretty much, a decent amount of change because they don't make them in large quantities, so they make them in limited quantities. And when I tasted their wine, I'm gonna show you a couple of wines that we have purchased and how we learned the lesson when purchasing these two wine bottles. But they they didn't really have to sell wine or nothing because they sell enough grapes, but they do both, I guess. So let me see. In 1999, Jan and Bart founded Krupp Brothers, producing their first vintage and an extraordinary Cabernet Sauvignon. Our wines began at the source, fruit from the blocks that have been carefully chosen by Jan. Today, each wine in our collection, from our mountain Chardonnay and Cabernet Sauvignon to our, what's this? Phone? Oh, Rhone style Syrah and Tempranillo base red, embodies the vision and passion that has guided the two brothers. We invite you to try them. So anyway, that's the brothers, And this, with this red rocky volcanic soil rising 1,900 feet above the sea level, Stagecoach produces some of Napa Valley's most remarkable and coveted fruit. See what I'm saying? Now, let me see what you're saying here. Yeah, well, they kind of cornered the market on the fruit supply. They're just not saying it like that. They're trying to be modest and humble, but talking to the people, they kind of covered the market on the fruit supply. Now, they told us that if we buy a second bottle, they would um, they would waive the tasting fee. But going to those old big commercial wineries like Madavi or whatever or Corbel, you would think the wine was only going to be 18 or 25, maybe $27. You know, maybe really around $12 to $18. But you know, with a tasting fee of $45, my spidey sense was tingling. So my wife, she kind of misread the menu and got caught up in the moment. And the lady was like, "Well, if you get a second bottle, we'll waive the the such and such." She said, "Oh, really? Okay, well, I'll take a second bottle." Well, the first bottle was probably 70, and the second bottle was probably 85 or so. So we ended up paying almost $200, thinking we was only going to spend about maybe 38, $45. So, uh, so I want to look at their wine their wine library. The white. So we bought the this one here. I think it's $7, $70. Um, the second one, the Sauvignon Blanc. And you know what? Tasting their wine, and you, Black Dust knows his stuff. Black Dust is on point with everything he's saying. Now, this tasting their wine make me think that all the wine I tasted in my past was cheap. You know what I'm saying? It made me it make me think I was bullshitting with the liquor. This is not liquor store wine, you know, and it's crazy. So remember I said so I bought this wine, and remember we talked about the witch, the water witch. So there's the water. We have to find it. I think it's in the reds. Yeah, right here. See, one bottle was 70. The other bottle was 95. So they waived the $45 tasting fee because they was gonna get us on the bottles. But we thought, you know, we was looking at the price of a glass of wine, which was $18 or $22, and we mistaken that for the price of the bottle. So don't make that same mistake. But the Water Witch, I've heard that the person who did most of the Water Witch work has passed on to the next life. But he was very popular. He only charged $200 a pop when the companies that come in, the big companies that come with the big machines, they charge 100,000 or less, and there's no guarantee that they'll find you water, which is that's a good ass hustle. Now look, the Wheelman Cabernet is 100, but wow, look at this, 165. But I'm gonna tell you, these wines are in limited amount, and especially for whatever year they was made, and they will increase in value if you hold on to it for 5 years. It's no telling. You know, wines are funny. You know, it could be 3 years. Something could happen on the hill. And boom, it's almost like crypto. Real wine is cultivated over generations in house. Well, these two old gentlemen go way back in wine, and it was just a hobby. And they started at home, and I we took the back roads to leave that area. We took the back roads to Sassoon City, I think it's called. Yeah, we went from Napa and we took the back roads through all the little small non-commercial wineries, um, and to Sassoon City, and we saw the most beautiful like homes, and some of them wasn't even fancy. It was just old, but painted and nicely kept, and it's like you can shoot Gone with the Wind with these homes. But I took video, but the car was moving. But I'm gonna give you an idea when I develop the not develop, but when I work on the pictures and the video. And I agree, real wine is cultivated over generations in house. Now, we have YouTubers that make wine. We have Fundi Fee that make wine, and it's no telling. I mean, her wine is already popular, but it's no telling where she's going to be in 5 years with her wine. But I really like the labels on here, the label art, and black is one of my favorite colors. So, um, but we bought 2 bottles. Oh, and they gave us some water in an aluminum can. It was cool too. It's like an aluminum can with their logo on it. Here are tasting notes. See, the Water Witch go all the way back to 2013. It's only 185 cases of the 2013 Water Witch. And it's best to go to the wine country between October and May. And really not in October, because it's going to be, if the weather's good in October, it's going to be crowded, and everything is going to be twice as high. Yep. Everything's going to be twice as expensive. No, I drink Fernet. I like Fernet. I'm a big fan of Fernet, but I haven't had um, absinthe, but I've had chartreuse with the worm in it, with no label on the bottle. If you know what that is. And I'm not a big liquor drinker because it ages you fast. It makes you look old fast, and it and it bloats you. It make you swell up. So I haven't. I used to drink a lot when I used to go out every day, and I used to drink beautifuls and all kind of drinks, man. But I had to be cool, Like I said, liquor. I know liquor. It just fucks people up, man. But good liquor is it's okay. Top shelf in small quantities. I drink top shelf scotch. Um, but yeah, one of the things that held my group back is we wouldn't endorse liquor. We wouldn't accept liquor sponsorship when they the one that handles all the concerts. They handles all the advertisement and everything. So, but we wouldn't promote drugs, violence, deviant behavior in liquor, because my friend that I did music with is Orthodox Muslim. So Real liquor turn you into a raisin. Yeah, I look. I went to Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam one time, and I saw senior citizens in the cannabis cafe, looking good, looking like they could run a little short marathon. But in the bars, people was like, kind of saturated. You know, them spirits is rough on you. But if you stay away from the brown liquors and drink top shelf if you got to go to a bar. And top shelf this means better quality, more expensive. You know, it says rising high above the marine layer, um, the marine layer fog, and the Vaca Mountains, with red volcanic rocky soil. I kept thinking to myself, volcano, volcano, volcano. When I was looking at those hills and stuff, I kept thinking volcano. I don't know why volcano was in my on my mind, but look, this this kind of validates what I was thinking. And it said, volcanic rocky soil. Stagecoach Vineyards produce some of Napa Valley's most coveted fruit. Dr. Jan Krupp hand selected his favorite blocks for Krupp Brothers to create wine of great intensity, and nuance and structure. And like I said before about the location, Jan and his brother Bart fell in love with the rugged mountain site that would become one of Napa's most iconic vineyards, despite its harsh desert landscape, riddled with rocks and boulders, and choked with chaparral and no known water source and no road access. Now, see, I said all of that off the cuff before we even read it. They saw the making of the world's class vineyard in 1995 with the help of a water witch and the removal of more than 1 million tons of rock. Damn, I didn't know that. And the construction of a snaking road that required 135 legal documents. Damn. Stagecoach Vintage was born today. Stagecoach is the largest contiguous vineyard in Napa, and providing fruits for some of the area's finest wineries. The brothers sold the vineyard in 2017. I didn't know that. But Jan continues in his role at the vineyard, paying careful attention to the farming of the blocks and retained for the Krupp, that's retained for the Krupp Brothers. Well, as a person who tried 4 of their wines, um, from white to red, um, I don't know what it was. It was amazing. Like, it wasn't overdone. It was just right. It was like a work of art. It was like drinking art. But Napa Valley in the downtown area, they have a Blue Note club. Like the label Blue Note, like the jazz club Blue Note. There's one in Japan. Napa has a Blue Note, just like a Yoshi's. You know what I'm saying? Yoshi's, jazz clubs, Japanese food and everything. I used to go to the original Yoshi's where the spit from the music instruments used to hit you, and there was no stage. There was just carpet and wood. The band is on the wood. The people was on the carpet. And the restaurant was attached. They had to go through doors to get into the club to feed people. But anyway, now Yoshi's is hella commercial. But Blue Note, I couldn't believe, if you just go to Napa just to go to Blue Note, that's good enough. But they also have a bunch of stores with stuff from local designers. So they got jewelry, clothing, leather goods, fits, design, nice stuff like bags. And I like nice stuff, so they got some nice stuff. there. You're probably thinking of bentonite clay, which is from deep volcanic ash. The acoustics must have been amazing. You know, I was so busy snapping pictures and switching lenses. I was really trying to be like Mr. Photographer and shit. You know, I used my wife to practice you know, doing portrait photography. And, you know, I never really took like professional pictures of her. So I really took some pictures that will last a lifetime. That really portrayed her in a nice light. And then I took a lot of 1-to-1 ratio photos, and it's a collection. So I'm gonna show some of the photos from that collection, and then one day I'm gonna try to debut it as a collection at a small gallery. But um, I'm really getting into photography. I got the camera I always wanted from the movie Mahogany, but I don't use that because it's analog. But when I want to, I can. And but I got a fairly decent Canon camera with 3 lenses. So um, yeah, so I'm feeling myself. But these pictures right here are really amazing. You know. Now the restaurants. Man, when we first got there, we ate at a southern restaurant called Q's, and I got pictures of every place we ate. I got pictures and drank. I got pictures, but Q's, they don't even call themselves a soul food restaurant. Macaroni on point, fried chicken on point, greens on point, cornbread on point. The only thing was missing was Kool-Aid and a mason jar. That's it. We didn't even go in the restaurant. this is how this is how cool this place is. This is how nice Napa is. I called from the car and made my order, and then I said we sitting. They said it'd be ready in whatever they said, 10 minutes, whatever. I said cool. We already sitting outside. We had just got to Napa. Man, they brought that shit out to the car. Did the transaction, everything with the device at the car. Then we went and settled in at our cottage. I took a picture of the cottage area too. We had a little cottage really for a whole week, but we both are working stiffs, and so we had to get back. We couldn't stay a whole week. But that was the first place we ate. The second place we ate, I can't remember. But I'm thinking it was just a hole in the wall burger joint in town, and I took a picture of that too. But then I got some Mexican food to go before we went back to the cottage, which is this is the second day, and no, this is the first day. I'm confused, but I got some must be the second day. I got some Mexican food, and it was so good that we went back the next day, which was today, and got 2 more meals. Because at first I only got a meal to go, and you know what's funny? When we went today, I went outside to smoke a cigar, and I took a picture of the cigar and the lighter that I use. Everything was photographed, you know, like it ain't just an ordinary cigar, it ain't just an ordinary lighter. But I'm just practicing my photography shit. I love photos that look like film celluloid. That's the softest in bloom. Well, I agree, and I like old fashioned. Well, I guess you can call it old fashioned, but I like analog film that looks like one frame from a movie, that looks like a big old billboard from the 50s. And so I have the camera that produces that. You can look it up yourself. It's a Olympus O1WN. and the letter N is significant because some of them don't have the letter N. And this camera had depth of field way before a Nikon had it, and it had an adapter where you could do rapid photos. You could do a sequence of photos. It had an attachment that you can get for it, and it's just a solid camera. It was used by journalists in the war because it could handle a beating. It was small but durable and solid. You could drop it. You could knock somebody out with it. You could hit somebody in the head with it. But it's an Olympus. And you know what was funny? The manual for the camera has nude pictures. You know, the manual is in Japanese, and it has nude Japanese women tastefully photographed in the manual, which is funny as hell. Um, but yeah, the celluloid thing, that reminds me of the old high school slideshows with the slider, and how they used to use the thing for visuals effects behind the rock band and stuff. Some people use the celluloid images for that, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And but you know, some people feel that digital photography is the worst thing that came around, but I do embrace it. I like it. I was taking pictures with any little device that could snap a picture. So, but I will say that my phone camera is almost as good as any other regular camera, but I do see the difference with the lenses and stuff of what you're trying to do. So I think I don't need 50 million lenses. I just need 3, and I'm good. And if I have I have a mirrorless that's 1.6, but if it was full length, I would have got a 50 millimeter, a nifty 50, but it's 1.6. So the kit lens, the Pancake 22, and the 55 to 200 is good enough. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, basically. And I'm not going to pretend that I know it all about photography. I'm not going to pretend that I know about every camera in the photography business. But I do listen to an OG that's very fond of analog cameras and why it was so great. And he go through a bunch of people, and he explain to you why photography was so great. And that's why I'm doing 1-to-1 ratios. And for those of you that don't know what a 1-to-1 ratio photo is, basically album covers are 1-to-1 ratio. And any picture that's evenly square, even your iPhone shoot square pictures, but most people don't take it off a regular or a portrait. But you know, when you do 16 by 9, you got the rule of thirds, but rules are made to be broken. But when it comes to 1-to-1 ratios, it's up to you. You can put the subject in the middle, in the corner, at the bottom, the top. You know, I really, when I shoot 1-to-1, I just feel like I'm shooting a bunch of album covers. But a lot of album covers are amazing. And when you go into some people's homes and businesses, you'll see a 1-to-1 ratio picture on the wall. Sometimes they put a bunch of them side by side or in a row or make a spell. So I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I think my water is still warm. I don't know, but if you get a chance, check out Krupp Brothers website. Check out their wines, and you know, support anybody that sells wine, especially if they're African American, if they're on YouTube, whatnot. I don't want to, you know, talk about them and not talk about the other people I've met online that are interested in does things in the same field. Authentic analog film and audio wins over digital. Yeah, but I love digital. I think I do. When I do digital, I try to imitate analog. I try to dirty up all the perfect footage, all the perfect crispy clear footage. I try to grade it and muddy it up and do stuff to it I love digital, but I can appreciate analog. I used to use a 16 millimeter camera. We had to change the film in a duffel bag or some kind of bag so the film wouldn't get exposed. And the camera without the film was heavy. Just imagine with the film. But I remember walking around the Heidelberg Castle with a Sony DV, and that felt a lot better than carrying 16 millimeter. But when it came to like DV tape and all that, and DVD cameras and stuff, and 8 millimeter, all of that made digital film suck. But going straight to SD, with these mirrorless cameras, because we shot a music video where every frame was 50 megs, and I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? All digital does is more give you more options and more of a canvas. Well, I'm a strong believer. I like to shoot digital like someone would analog, but it's hard to say that because with analog, you don't know what you got until you develop it. And then you have these tricks to developing, like you might uh, rub on the film, try to, give it a little warmth and try to, smooth it out and try to bring out certain colors by rubbing it with your fingers. But and little tricks like that, breathing on the lens, um, all kind of stuff. But I've done some amazing stuff with digital. I remember I did a remake to Knight Rider, and I had a 360 camera, and it was wet fog that got on the lens, and it had an effect that I could never do with software. I couldn't do it with Premiere or DaVinci or Vegas. It was due on the lens, and it made this look that, and then the camera got 6 mics, so it was amazing sound and amazing imagery. You know what I'm saying? Do you have your film dark room? I don't shoot with analog. I have the camera. I have two lenses. Um, I shot a picture. I used to have a vintage Mercedes, so I shot pictures of the Mercedes, and I used to have a vintage Jaguar, and I shot pictures of the Jaguar and by the lake, and they really look like something out of a movie. It really does look like a movie scene. I shot in black and white. I love black and white, and I just like having that option. If I do have something to do, like a job, I would probably shoot in digital, but also have analog shots too as well, just in case they might want the analog shots as well. I like it's something classy and regal about analog photography, but you got to I'm glad I learned on a regular camera. I ain't gonna say real, on a regular camera first, so it made me a better photographer with digital. Just like I'm glad I studied music and played the saxophone all those years, so when I switched over to computers and software, I knew what it's supposed to sound like. You know what I'm saying? But my place is not that big, and I wouldn't have room for a dark room. But there is a place that have like 30 stalls, and they teach kids every day at 3:30 how to take pictures and the beauty of traditional photography. And they have a room that's red, and it has at least 30 or more stalls. 30 or more people could develop their film at the same time. Um, yeah, it's like a center, like a cultural, not a cultural center, but like that, like a cultural center. So it's named after the former mayor of a city who used to be I think he was a military journalist or something like that, and they built a center to teach kids photography. But but yeah, man, that's all I got. I should have been with the bed. I just got back, and it's been a long one. It's been a long one. But the next time I will have the pictures that I took, some of them, and also on my community wall, I'll be posting pictures and stuff like that. So we got off to a bad start. My last live, as soon as I catch it, I'm going to delete it. But this one is going to stay up. And I just want to say peace and hair grease. Yeah, nice chopping it up, Black Dust. You know your stuff. You are a Renaissance man. You are the YouTube thespian. All right. Yeah, you have a nice night too, man. I'm out. It's been real. Roll that Hollywood intro.
Suspended animation of a gray expansion casting shadows over the sun. Died already. Somewhere in the river of time and space, he had died. It has happened already. Somewhere